How you doing, guys and dolls? It's Anthony Romano Jr. with Adosa Realty. A while back, I was in the process of dealing with a purchase. A buyer had me with a church. He wanted to buy a church, and he wanted to put an Italian specialty business there. And long story short, we were going through the process, and he wanted to get an inspection. So we had the inspector down, and the inspector went about his business, and he did what he had to do. And he said, "Hey, Anthony, I got to leave this piece of equipment here. It's for radon. It's going to take approximately 48 hours to get a true reading." So I said, "Okay, no problem. Just let me know when we're going to pick it up." I said, "Okay." About 2 days later, he calls me. He goes, "Hey, Anthony, I'm going to be in the neighborhood. Can I come get that equipment?" So I said, "All right." It was going to be late. It was going to be later in the day. So I met him there, and we both entered. And as I opened the door, I noticed all of a sudden the alarm went off. And it's flashing lights and making noise. And, unbeknownst to me, the pastor he had set the alarm. I don't know, he was going to rob a church, but it does happen, I'm sure. But I told the guy, I said, "Look, go get your equipment. Let's do this, and I'll deal with it." So I went over to the alarm system, and I didn't have the code. So I called up my brokerage at the time. I'm my own broker now, so I called up the brokerage, and they answered the phone. They said, "I'm on the other line with the alarm company. I'll call you back." So I figured, all right, maybe they got a call, and they're dealing with it. So guy comes out with his equipment. Alarms are still going off, and I says, "Look, do what you got to do. Take it. I got to stick around here. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if the cops are going to show up or or what was going to happen." So I waited. He goes, "Look, I would stick around, but I have a bowling match. I got to go. I have a championship, something he had to go to." So I told him, I said, "All right, do your thing. I'll wait." So here I am prepared, waiting for the police department to show up. The alarms are still blaring. I'm in a church in the middle of the night. Actually, I have a concealed weapon carry. And so I'm thinking in my head, first thing I got to have to answer to the police is, "Hey, hands up. I'm the realtor. I have a weapon on me, but I have have a permit in my pocket." So I'm gearing myself up for all this, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's about an hour later, and nobody's showing up. Nobody's calling me back." I called the brokerage, and I said, "What's going on with the alarm?" And they said, "Oh no, we had our alarm went off over here at the office." I go, "No, no, I have a problem here with an alarm went off at the church." And they said, "I didn't know anything about it." So I had to wait. She had to call the pastor, get the alarm code, and uh, you know, call me back. Instruct me how to do this. Shut the alarm down. And it was a whole hassle and a waste of time because had I known ahead of time, I would have been prepared. And that's the moral of the story here. I mean, make sure if there's going to be an alarm at the location, you have the code, or at least let people know advanced ahead of time. Say, "Hey, look, if you don't want to give me the code, at between this hour and this hour, I'm going to be there, or the inspector's going to be there. So be prepared. Take the alarm off, or any further instruction. What to do." But I figured this would be a nice dose of realty, dose of reality. In a church with an alarm. Long story short, the guy he bought the place, and I'm waiting for him to open up this specialty restaurant, food place. And that should be by September, I believe, of 26. I know he had a lot involved to do there, but I'm looking forward to it. But all right, well, everybody have a great day and stick around. Talk soon.